Hi guys, I'm back with another page in my pocket page notebook today. You can tell by the faces in these photos that this isn't a great story. It's not even necessarily about coffee, but it's going to go into my coffee pocket page notebook because I figured that's the most appropriate place to have it. So we grabbed this cup of coffee very early one Sunday morning. It wasn't a great cup of coffee, but it was exactly what I needed at that time because we had been up literally all night the night before. Our neighbours decided to throw a party, and that party ended with their stereo being seized by the police at about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So we were very tired and we needed to escape the house. So we got up and went to McDonald's. That was the only place open to grab a coffee, which wasn't great, but like I said, that was exactly what we needed. I've got 3 photos, so I've got a couple of smaller photos that I'm going to hide my journaling under. I figured not the best story, so I would hide those little notes away under these photos. So I'm just going to flap them, hinge them up with a little piece of washi tape. And you can see before I did that, I grabbed out that Heidi Swap 6x8 pad again and just picked out a green coloured paper. It matched my photos. You know, green's not my regular colour scheme, but it worked nicely with these photos here. So those photos are just slightly smaller than 3 inches high, I think, and I've got a 3x4 for my left-hand page there. So I trimmed out a little bit of just regular printer paper to fit behind my photo and then ran that through my typewriter. I got really lucky actually because I sort of forgot that I was doing 2 photos and just managed to stop myself carrying on the typing just in time to split it so that I could hide something behind the second photo. Just to make sure that these hinges hold and don't come off the washi tape, I'm adding a little bit on the inside as well, and then I can add my journaling on top. So because it's not thick card, it's just a little bit of glue, and then before I press that down, I'm just making sure that it doesn't stick out behind the photo, which it doesn't. And I really like the way that it looks. I got, as you can see, quite a long story in there and managed to hide it all nicely. So on my left-hand page, I decided to use that little scrap of green paper to kind of tie the 2 pages together. The colours will tie it all together too, but I used that, and I've got my photo here, and that's sort of about where my thought process ended. So I went away and I made a whole pile of these tiny little coffee cups from this Spellbinders die that Alice sent me, and I was not gonna make you sit through me making all of those. So here's how I did it. For each little coffee cup, I die cut one plain white one, and then a couple of pattern paper ones. They don't need to go all the way to the top, and then a couple of the little what do you call them, coffee sleeve dies, a couple of those, because I want these coffee cups to be double-sided. So once I've got all the little parts cut out, I can go ahead and assemble this. Now it's kind of hard to see on camera, but there is it's sort of an embossed line where the lid of the coffee cup would go. So I'm just trimming out the pattern paper ones along that line, and that gives me the body of the cup. So to assemble it, I'm just using a little bit of glue. These are going to go in the pocket, so I'm not worried about them being attached like super permanently. And then I'm adding the pattern paper to the bottom of each die cut on both sides, and same thing with the coffee sleeve, just attaching those on each side. And then you have your little double-sided coffee cup die cut. And I did that 12 times. So like I said, I didn't use the Heidi Swap pad. I just had a bunch of scrap paper. So it's in sort of tealy colors and black and whites, just to kind of match the photos that I had this week. So although it's not necessarily my preference, you know, I would have preferred to be making these in like, you know, pink and teal, I went teal and black instead. So I've got 12 there, and I made myself a little fusing template. So I cut out a piece of paper that's the same size as my pocket, and then I folded that in thirds vertically and then in quarters horizontally. So I'm just lining that up on my pocket, and I've got a bit of scrap cardboard in behind there too, so I don't damage my notebook. And I attached that all down to the cardboard, so they're all going to sit nicely together with just a bit of washi tape somewhere where I'm not going to fuse. So I'm starting by fusing my 2 verticals. Of course, I have to fill the pockets as I go. So this is why they needed to be double-sided, because you're not going to have a chance to put anything back in here afterwards. So I just used a metal ruler, which actually isn't great for fusing. It's a bit too thick, but I needed something that ran the whole length of the pocket. And then I'm going to slide in my first 3 little coffee cups, and they slide in fairly easily. I'm just using sort of the back of my nail to push them down the pocket. You could be more technical and slip something in the pocket with them. And then I'm going to fuse them in place. I'm going to use the actual fuse ruler this time. I flip it upside down. I find that works easier. And I'm just fusing along those fold lines on my template just to make sure that I get all little 12 segments of this pocket equal. Now you see me pull that one out again because there is actually a back and a front to these coffee cups, because that sort of embossed line is only on the front, and I kind of want to see them on this front page. So I do a terrible job of being careful to make sure I put them all in the right way. I have to pull a few in and out, but I'm just going to repeat that a couple more times. So I'm slipping 3 in and then fusing the pocket shut. And then once I get these 3 in, I'm going to make sure that I fuse this pocket super carefully. So I'm going to pull the washi tape out and just move my template out and move the cardboard up so that I can line this ruler up super close to the edge and really fuse that well. The rest of those fuse marks, I haven't been too fussed about whether they're completely fused, because at no point are they going to be sort of ripped open. That top one though does need to be really carefully sharp. I love the way this looks. You could do this with anything, little die cuts or bits of ephemera or just anything reasonably flat, but it's much like my sequin pockets when I've been fusing them diagonally. I love that this keeps them spread out across the entire page. Now I had gone away and tried to find some black alphas, but I sort of had this title in my head which I'm not even sure if it makes sense now, but as I was putting this page together and printing out these photos, I sort of had this title in my head and I didn't have enough black alphas anywhere to make it. So in the end I have pulled out this stamp set from Feed Your Craft, which I really love. It's perfect for this kind of thing because I can stamp out this really long title, which is not really just what I needed. And not run out of space, or, you know, obviously I'm not using up all my alphas or anything like that. So I am just going to stamp it top and bottom of my photo. And I wasn't really particularly accurate about what words were going to go where. And I got really lucky that it fit perfectly. So I was going to leave not really at the top and then put just what I needed down the bottom. But I had that sort of gap on the right hand side. It is a really tall, it's not super tall, but compared to how thin it is, it's a super tall skinny alpha, so you can fit quite a lot of words across. So I put not really, adjust, and what I needed at the bottom here. So you can see here it's not too long to stamp, like it's you know, they're tiny alphas, but they go quite quickly. Needed, I cheated because I only needed 3 letters for it, so I kept them all on my block, and that's it. That's my title stamped. So I really love these alphas. I had that little gap, so I filled it in with just an ellipsis, and that is my page all finished. I really love how this turned out. It's obviously not necessarily my normal color scheme, but it kind of suits the page really. So this is a bit of a departure from me, but I love it when an idea you've had, an idea I've had percolating, actually works out. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye guys.